Okay, welcome to Roof. LIB, line item budget, outtakes here. Intakes, outtakes, trainings. Here we go. So the roof. The roof is usually the most complex of the estimating, and I'll tell you why. You need to have a little bit of mathematical prowess here. So um, here we go with the roof. Finding your runs, you need to use the Pythagorean theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So you multiply the height, a, times itself, b times itself, which is the long bottom of isosceles triangle. And just to show you real quick. So here's a squared, right? That's your height. Here's b squared, or b. This is your length across the bottom, of your wall. And then this is c. This would be your roof length on one side. And then this would be your roof length on the other side. C is also called the hypotenuse. That's where our rafters go that frame out the roof. So C is the hypotenuse, or the rafter length. Okay, so let's go back here. So we need to do this. This is our C. This is the hypotenuse right here, right? This is the hypotenuse here. This is the hypotenuse on this side. I think you know where we're going with this. Let's give some more examples. So here's the hypotenuse here. Here's the hypotenuse here. Here's the hypotenuse up there. Those are kind of hidden up there. Let's zoom out a little bit. But you can see your hypotenuse. Hypotenuse, 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 and hypotenuse, hypotenuse, hypotenuse. Hypotenuse. I hope that is enough redundancy for you. So, what we need to do is, this is our roof here. This is where you pull into the garage. Okay. So we have one run here, which is east to west. I know that because I know the property. Gil knows that as well. This is east to west, that run. This is north to south. So we have two major roof lines in this particular home. Now, we want to find the first roof, so we're going to work on this section here, the north to south. Now, our total length is 40 foot, 6 and 7/16, and 14.5 and 9/16. So I'm just going to take this 14.5 and 46 and call it 15 and 40. 15 and 40. So it's 55 feet across here. Now, if it's 55 feet across there and it's 34 foot 8 across here, so we'll just round up, we'll call it 35 feet, right? If you want to get exact, he's putting 17 feet here for specific numbers. 17 feet. Now, I think his numbers are right. We're going to go back and check Gil's. Let's go to the LIB. But let's say, so here we go. If we're taking an 812, which is the situation on this particular property, the height to length ratio is 0.666. I know. To 1. 0.6666 to 1, or an 812 pitch. Now, how did I get this? I got that by taking the first number 8 and dividing it by 12. And then you get the multiplier, which is this number here. Okay? Now, in the roof, you only need one length to get the pitch. So in this case, we are, from a 112 all the way up to an 1812. It's all the same. Okay? So you can take the long leg, which is 1.5 times longer, and we'll just say it's 17.5. And I'll tell you why. I came up with 17.5 because here's our width right here, 31 feet, right? 31 feet. If you add 3 onto that, it ends up being 34 feet. And I added 1 foot 6 here is our eave, 1 foot 6 here. So I just added an extra foot just to be careful that we have long enough rafters. You don't necessarily have to do that, but it's always better to have a long enough rafter than too short of a rafter. And sometimes the foundation changes up a little bit, becomes a little wider than anticipated. So instead of being 34 feet, I added a foot. That's not necessary for all projects, but I would definitely make sure that you have more material than not. So let's go back. So I'm just taking this 31 feet from here, this wall, to this wall. But the rafter has to go over, right? The hypotenuse has to go over because we have an eave right here. We're marking the eaves 1.6 again. 1.6. All the way around the house, the eaves are 1.6. So we're going to add 3 feet onto this, 31. That makes this 35 feet. 35 feet with the added foot for contingency. Added foot for contingency. So let's go back. So we have 17.5. Multiply it by 0.666, which is our height multiplier, right? And now you have a height of 11.665 with, if you want to figure that out in inches, it's 11 feet. And then 0.665 divided by 0.0833, which is 12 inches in per 1 foot. So that's our multiplier. It's 7.98 inches, or 8 inches. So it's 11 foot, 8 inches high. 11 foot, 8 inches high. Now we take the 17.5 feet B side, multiply it by 17.5 foot B side by itself, and you end up with 306.25. You take the height, 11.665, multiply by 11.665, and you have 136.072. Okay? Now, you add the two together, and I'll show you why. Here's you add the two together. A squared plus B squared equals C squared, right? Okay, so now we add the two together and we come up with 442.3222. Now I usually like to go, by the way, 4 decimal points over. Take the square root of this by either using this little theorem, this little training I showed you here, or you can use the square root on your calculator. A lot quicker and easier to use the square root on calculator. You end up with 21 foot 0.003. Now we take up to 4 decimal points in some cases, but 3 is plenty accurate. That comes out to just over 21 feet, or 21 foot 0.0003. If you take 1 foot, 1, divide it by 12, that's how you get your 0.083333 multiplier that shows you your inches in the decimal system. Okay, so you take 0.003 divided by 0.08333, which is your per inch. You come up with less than 3/100ths of an inch. So we only need to go down to anything under a 0.25 of an inch is our accuracy. So that's plenty good, right? Plenty good. So we have a 21 foot rafter, and we're good to go. Now you say, Todd, if we have a 21 foot rafter, but it's 21.0003, it's just over 21 feet, do I need to get a 22 footer? And my comment to you is this. First of all, they don't come in 21 feet sections. It'll be a 22 footer. That's the rafters that they will send us. So no, anything that's, if it's under a 1/4 of an inch, let it go. We've already added in our contingency, like I said, when we did 35 feet versus 34 feet. So we're good to go here. We're good to go. So we're going to order 21 foot rafters. 21 foot rafters, which I know they don't exist, but you don't. And we're going to see if we can get for the project. Okay. So usually we'll get like a manufactured or something like that for these kind of lengths, these kind of spans. Okay. So on the next video, I'm going to go through with you. That's the Pythagorean theorem. That's how you figure out your pitch and your lengths of your hypotenuse or your rafter lengths. The next video, I'll go through and we'll go through how many rafters are needed, how many square feet of, everything from your decking to your fascia. And I'll see ya on the next one.